Hey, what's up? This is Seth Green, and you are listening to Somewhere in Vegas with Mark, and I am so hot, I would desperately like a glass of water. Please, please, give me some water.
This is Cindy Preston, and I'm with Mark on Somewhere in Vegas.
Hi, this is Melissa Peterman from CMT's The Singing Bee and the television show Reba. And I have to tell you, I just have to get it off my chest, I love Somewhere in Vegas with Mark.
Hi there. This is Faith Roscoe from General Hospital. You're listening to Mark on Somewhere in Vegas. And you better watch out. We know how to find you if you're not listening.
Hi, this is Shannon Egan from Whip It, and I love Somewhere in Vegas with Mark.
Hey, this is Lee Allen Baker with Somewhere in Vegas, talking with Mark with a Q.
This is Courtney Cronin. You're listening to Somewhere in Vegas with your host, Mark, and I would make sure to listen every week because he's a sure bet.
Hey, this is the Money Man, Eddie Money. I got 2 tickets to Paradise, and it's, you know what? It's Somewhere in Vegas. And what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Hi, this is Crystal Gale, and I love Somewhere in Vegas with Mark.
Hi, this is Terry Nunn from Berlin, and you're listening to Mark Somewhere in Vegas.
Hi, this is Miracle Laurie from Joss Whedon's Dollhouse. There are 3 flowers in a vase, and I'm listening to Somewhere in Vegas with Mark.
Hi, this is Erin Hill, and you are listening to Mark on Blog Talk Radio and Somewhere in Vegas. Mark is a great guy.
Hi, this is Sean Pulaski. I'm still trying to figure out Mark Pico's sexuality, but I know you're listening to Somewhere Live in Vegas.
Here you go, Mark. I'm sorry. I thought you were she. I'm sorry. Get out of the tent. Let's get out of here.
Hey, this is Lance and Anna from Free Radio. And Anna?
And you're listening to Somewhere in Vegas.
Yes.
My favorite.
You know, that's usually what happens with me. I go to Vegas and I get lost, and so I end up somewhere in Vegas.
Somewhere in Vegas.
But I just don't know where it is.
Not quite sure.
Yeah, word.
Get ready. It's going to be hot. It's in Vegas. Check out Mark. Be there or be square.
My guest at this time has really a very elaborate history. The Little Wretches has recorded 11 albums right now, which is absolutely unbelievable. Their newest album is just out right now, and they've had some really great success with it as well. We have Robert Bob Wagner on with us right now. How you doing, Bob?
Oh, I'm doing really good, and I'm like I was mentioning before we came on that I've been listening to some of your podcasts, and I'm excited to be here. I subscribed to the podcast. I am now an official subscriber, and when you put up new content, I'll be listening when I'm driving around.
Well, that's great. That's great to hear. I mean, we're celebrating our 13th year, which is it's just unbelievable with how many people we've had on the show, and we'll be pumping out a lot of content to celebrate our 13th year. So thanks a lot for subscribing.
Well, thank you. 13's my lucky number. I hope it's your lucky number too.
Yeah, actually 22, but we'll have to wait until about another nine years before that happens.
Yeah, well, may you make it to 22 years of podcast. That would be quite an accomplishment.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, there's very few people that have had that a podcast for that long. So I'm very lucky to be able to have celebrated 13 years. So thanks a lot for the congratulations. And I mean, congratulations to you on your 11th album. And tell me a little bit about the album itself and how it came about.
Well, I've been writing songs for a long time, and the Little Wretches has had a pretty storied history and various versions of the band. But I was part of the original punk rock scene in Pittsburgh, PA. And that was sort of like an apprenticeship where you kind of discover what you're capable of, what you really want to do in that environment. You pretty much had the license to try anything. So I played everything from noise music to improvisational music. But, mainly I'm a songwriter. I mean, that's what I discovered is that mainly I'm a songwriter. And my brother and I started the Little Wretches as a vehicle for my songs. My brother, who's no longer with us, was the violin player. And so he and I were the core of the band, and we built around that. And every time, when we first started out, I think our our initial performance was at a little theater called the New Group Theater in Pittsburgh. A lot of independent small theaters in Pittsburgh. And then, we got popular and we wanted to reach a broader audience. So, what do? You add drums and get loud. And so over the years, we've lost a lot of band members along the way. But so the album Undesirables and Anarchists in some ways was I just took all of our best unknown songs that had been road tested. We'd played them over the years in a lot of different formats, a lot of different arrangements, and we just had it. We went into a great studio. Eddie Van Halen just died. Well, the guy who engineered and recorded this album, Dave Granati, was part of a band called G-Force. They used to be the touring opening act for Van Halen. And he really knows his music. So when we went into the studio, he knew exactly what we needed to do. He said, if you guys can record without headphones, just set up like you're doing a live show, and we'll record all the basic tracks. And I don't think there's a second take on there. Nobody does that. We recorded like, the Beatles and Bob Dylan did. I mean, we just went in and we hammered these songs out. Everybody, we'd been performing them live. We just had it, and then overdubbed the. But they're like ringers. All the songs were road tested, proven songs. And as it just turned out, we didn't know that the title Undesirables and Anarchists comes from one of the songs called All of My Friends. And, I have a lot of pretty colorful friends over the years, from Marxist college professors to guys that have never had a job in their lives. So I wrote the song, All of My Friends Are on Somebody's List of Undesirables and Anarchists. Little did I know that by the time the album came out, our country would be kind of full of vigor and protest and people putting each other in one of those two camps. That was not the idea when I wrote the song, because I've got friends everywhere, friends in low places, high places, and no places. So it's a great album, full of great songs, and the band is just so hot.
Yeah, I mean, taking a look, obviously these are, I wouldn't necessarily call B-sides because they were never released, but, just looking back at some of the songs that you've had, which is, I think is really cool concept, because there are some songs that, you always have in the back of your mind or have down on there that you come back to, and, you want to produce those songs, but maybe the time wasn't exactly right for you to put it down on an album or something like that as well. So it's an interesting concept. Just looking at some of those songs, you obviously can see a little bit of your growth in terms of the band and how everything's kind of changed up. Obviously members have changed, but also just the growth in your music, in your music and your attitudes towards what the music is. Tell me a little bit about that, about the growth that you've experienced, and looking back at this album as almost a way of saying, this is how much we've grown.
Well, when you start out, I mentioned that I was part of the punk scene in Pittsburgh, and for a lot of people, punk is about haircuts and ripped clothes or something like that. But really, it just for me was an invitation to participate in something that I thought I'd be locked out of. It let people get in the game. I knew I could write, and my favorite, if it wasn't for rock and roll music and folk music, I'd probably be a college professor teaching poetry or something. But you want to be able to reach people. And, if you ever go to a college poetry reading, you're surrounded by a bunch of college professors and poetry students. And if you feel like you have something to say, you want to reach people who don't already know what you know, who haven't already experienced what you've experienced. You're trying to find, if you got something to say, you wanted to say it to somebody who wants to hear it. And for me, music was the broadest possible spectrum of who knows who we can reach through music. And me personally, music is what really touched me. So you're driven by this sense that you have something to say, and you're finding a way to say it. And the trial and error part is just like if you're in a writing workshop. You want to know if what I was trying to get across, did I reach anybody? Did it connect? And so it's like a refining process where you're removing the impurities and discovering what you're really about. And so somewhere along the line, I've come up with a few catchphrases to describe what I do. If you go to the Little Wretches website, I think the catchphrase that's up there is musical portraits and cinematography of the soul. Because we're telling stories and painting pictures and trying to bring characters to life. My kind of mission statement, I don't know if you're familiar with the Velvet Underground song, I'll Be Your Mirror. But to me, that's like the manifesto, that's the mission statement for any artist. I'll be your mirror, reflect what you are in case you don't know. I want to leave you in someone else's dreams. That's a line from an Ian Hunter song. So that's, I want, after you hear a set of my songs, I want you to go away feeling like you know people, and you know people that you've never met before, and you care about them. Speak a little bit with compassion about people that almost nobody else cares about, And that's discovered how to do this, how to record, how to arrange. That feeling of going out, like one of the things that you learn when you're delivering mainly original music to audiences that haven't previously heard it in a loud setting, you're throwing so much information. I'm sure you've gone to live rock concerts where you don't really understand what the singers are saying. The lyrics are totally buried in the roar. Say, okay, so if the main way that we're going to connect with people is through live performance, we've got to find a way to do it where we can keep the energy level up, but also get the lyrical content across. We're throwing out tons of information. Every song is new. So how do we do it? And you realize that there's some topics that are kind of sensitive too, that you're not going to come across in a typical song. And so, okay, every story needs a context, every picture needs a frame. So how are we going to frame this stuff? How are we going to put it in context and make it possible for the audience to get it? Because once the audience has heard the record, or any of the records, their interaction with the music when they come to a live show is completely different. They once you hear the songs, they'll be with you forever. So I don't know if I answered your question, but that's we just kind of discovered the process, discovered the purpose, and now just doing the work. Do the work and don't look back.
Well, with that being said, I mean, coming from when you guys first started to now, the idea of social media, the idea of almost instant, instant feedback from the audience versus maybe in a concert venue after a concert, maybe talking to the fans. But you have a lot more of that input coming into it as well. How's that helped you out in terms of your songwriter and some of the later albums?
Well, the social media, I mean, it's leveled the playing field, and it's put a lot of people out of business. People who had a corner on the market no longer have the corner on the market because artists like us can go straight to the audience. If you want to buy one of my CDs, you can buy it directly from me, and I don't have to give a cut of it to anybody. And the music is available to anybody in the world. So even if you have a relatively small audience, as long as you persist and you stay out there, people have the ability to find you. On the other hand, you're like a needle in a haystack. Because when we first started, going into a recording studio was a sign of commitment. Going on tour, playing out of town was a sign of commitment. Making an album instead of a single was a sign of commitment. Now with modern technology, any kid with a laptop can make a Grammy Award-winning album in their bedroom. So it's democratized, it's leveled the playing field, and in some respects, even this COVID thing has kind of leveled the playing field because now the big bands that you're competing with aren't touring. So I've got just as much chance as anybody. So it puts us in the game, and the big thing is to be out there so your audience can find you and just giving them a reason to come back, But I can't wait for this current phase that we're in to pass, because my dream is to wake up in the morning thinking about where I'm playing tonight, playing to a new audience every night, and almost like a touring Broadway show. I've got a hit show, just put an audience in front of me and I know it's going to work.
Yeah, I know a lot of us are anxious to get back into watching